Hi, everybody. It's your podcast Sista Lisa, coming to you from Cleveland, Ohio. If you like to discover new music, then you've come to the right place. This is where you'll meet singers, songwriters, and musicians who are living the dream and talking about it on Podcast Sista. On today's show, I will be interviewing country singer-songwriter Wynn Williams from Fort Worth, Texas. His pure country music style has gained over 12 million global streams and 300,000 monthly listeners across all streaming platforms to date. Wynn is here to talk about his music career and his latest hit single, A Woman Can Do That to a Man. Stay tuned and let's talk music. Welcome, Wynn. Thanks for joining me on today's podcast.
Yes, thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, this is a pleasure. And when before I dive into your music career, I read that as a teenager growing up in Texas, you were a rodeo cowboy steer wrestler. Now, Wynn, for our listeners who are born and raised in the city like I have been, I have to ask you, what is it like being in the ring with a 600-pound steer and wrestling it to the ground?
Well, when you first get started, it can be intimidating, and you get lots of bumps and bruises and plenty of blood. But but once you kind of get it figured out, things start to take shape, and once you get the technique figured out, then you reduce your chances. You don't always avoid the bumps and bruises and the blood, but you certainly can reduce your chances at having a bad day. Actually, whenever I was in college, I injured my knee. I actually tore my ACL, my MCL, my meniscus,
Mm.
and so that put a big damper on my rodeo career, without a doubt. But it's just kind of part of it.
Well, you're the first cowboy I think I've ever really talked to that is genuine pure country. And um I mean, like, what did your parents say when you said, "Oh, I want to do this steer wrestling"? I mean, is was that okay or
Yeah, no, it was great. I grew up in Weatherford, Texas, which is a cowboy town. So we were around rodeo all the time. Uh, and then it kind of actually just played out to where, after school, I would go over to my buddy's house until my parents got off of work, and they had horses, and his dad was a steer wrestler, and just one day after football practice, his dad picked us up and said, "Hey, we're going to go learn how to bulldog." And so that's kind of what started it. Really, my parents didn't have a choice to say yes or no. It kind of just happened,
Oh my gosh.
and it led to another 7 or 8 years of rodeo.
Now, did I read correctly that at some point in the rodeo days you started picking up the guitar and singing? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So whenever I was in high school, I high school rodeoed and college rodeoed, and whenever I was in high school, me and my buddy who I was rodeoing with, we both got guitars and started learning how to play guitar. We would sit around at the rodeos at the trailers every night and just kind of we actually would just play the only song we knew, and it was Wagon Wheel. That's like the first song that everybody learns, I think. But we used to just sit around and play the guitar a little bit and sing, and I started to pick up on it, a little bit more and a little bit more, and then I started kind of playing some little shows here and there around my hometown, and then started doing some showcases around DFW where I was sitting in with a band and playing with them, and and I just started falling in love with performing and playing music and being on stage, and that kind of followed me all the way through my college years. And my senior year of college is whenever I really, really started to lean into music. Um, I was at Texas A&M, and I had, you know, internships and jobs that were really not my style, being stuck behind a desk or staring at a computer screen all day. I just thought this is not for me. So I found something that was something that I love to do and playing music, and it wasn't as dangerous as rodeoing. So um, I just started to, write songs and started to record music. And whenever I graduated from A&M in 2016, I mean, my rent was cheap, and I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I might as well do it now. So that was uh, that was the start of a uh, of a long career, I guess. I've been doing this now for coming up on, I guess it's 8 years. So they say it's like a 10-year thing before you start to get any recognition, but we're already starting to see that right now in 8 years, and it feels great.
Yeah, absolutely. And you really have taken your music career like a bull by the horns. And since the time, like you mentioned in 2016, you have under your belt, your rodeo belt, a 114-track self-titled album, 2 EPs, Words Fly and Your Love, and 2 singles that you released. One in July called Country Therapy, and in October of this year, you released A Woman Can Do That to a Man. You put your mind to something in 2016, and you keep going no matter what the situation is. And where does this come from, this drive that you have?
Um, it's like it's kind of a lot like rodeo. I tell people, you're the only person that can get something done inside of the arena. So I learned pretty early on. There's kind of a saying that I live by, that no one's going to work harder for you than you. And just because I love doing this, and quite frankly, I don't want to do anything else. Like I said, I don't want to be stuck behind a desk, or up on a roof putting shingles on or something like that. Because I love doing this so much, I just I just work really hard at it. I also love the business aspect of it, which can be kind of treacherous for really a young artist. I mean, for anybody, it's kind of an interesting industry in that it's really, really challenging, and that there's no right or wrong way to do things. There's no playbook. There's no manual that tells you the things you need to do to be successful. But um, fortunately, I've just had that drive, and that desire to be the best at what I do. And I try to apply that every single day, whether it be booking shows, or participating in interviews like this one, um, and even so far down as the accounting, which is something that I got a C in college. But regardless, it's something new every single day, and that's what I love about it. And I'm really thankful that I get to do this for a living. I mean, there's so many people that they don't get to live out their dreams and do their passions every single day. And so I consider myself extremely lucky that I get to play music for a living.
Yeah, and you do it well, and I know that you're getting recognized. And here's why. I want to first congratulate you on your recent signing with Good Company Entertainment Records in September. And that is a very big accomplishment. And what is it like now for you working with a management team? I know it's only been since September, but you know, give us a sense on that.
Well, it makes the world a difference. Whenever it's one thing to have to do things by yourself, but once you start getting other people involved, that can really start to shake the leaves. It's really changed my life. It was a huge challenge for quite some time. I mean, specifically from COVID until now. I mean, I've literally been doing everything pretty much on my own. And so now with Good Company Entertainment on board, we've got a whole team from marketing to radio promo to uh, artwork and socials. And we also just recently signed with CAA, which is one of the major booking agencies in Nashville. And things are really, really starting to take shape here for us.
Yeah.
And a lot of that really and truly has to do with Good Company Entertainment. And I'm so thankful that I get to work with such a great team. It's a small team, but they're real heavy hitters and they like to work. So it's a great fit.
Yes, it is. And I want to share with our listeners one of the fan favorites songs that you just released in July, Country Therapy. And I'm going to go ahead and play snippet number one, Country Therapy. I want the listeners to hear before we continue to talk more music. So here we go.
Seems like the whole world's lost its mind and nobody's seeming to find it. All wound up tied with no way to unwind that 8-ball, we're all behind it. There's self-help books and snake-oil crooks to keep you from flipping your lid. But I've learned the best way to keep my head on straight is the same way my daddy did. Who needs a couch and some streaks office when you got a stool in a bar? Who needs a pill from a plastic bottle when there's still some shine in a jar? As long as they're straight on the radio, some good-looking girls on the dance floor, man, that's good. Good enough for me. Old school country therapy. Laid on a hook in a line. She can find.
I love that song, Wynn. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Country Therapy was written by myself and two guys named Ryan Tyndall and Jeff Hyde. Both of them are hit songwriters. They write a lot for Eric Church, John Party, just to name a few. I mean, they've got a ton of hits under their belts, and I was fortunate enough to write with those guys and have written with them since. But I had this idea, Country Therapy, about just like trying to get away from this crazy world that we live in, and the best place to do that is in a bar or at a dance hall, especially whenever you're coming from Texas, and that's the place where you go every Friday night, and you have a couple beers and maybe you dance a little bit with a pretty lady. So um, that was the idea that I had, and then Jeff and Ryan are so great with melodies and lyrically. They kind of put things together, and then we had this idea like, oh well, it's not just about being in a bar; it's all the other things too. It's fishing and playing guitar on your porch with your buddies, and just going for a drive. So all that kind of stuff is where the idea came from. And whenever we got into the studio, Brandon Hood produced it, and we had a lot of fun. And now it's one of our favorite songs to play live because it's upbeat, it's moving, and everybody likes to clap their hands and stomp their feet to do it.
Yeah, and when you wrote this song along with your co-writers, I found that I was really drawn in line by line with your description, and it really just takes you to that place you want to go when you need some downtime in your life and you want to get away from it all in that country feel. And I could definitely see how and why this is a song that your fans love. And I hope too for the listeners today, they will check that song out, and I know they're going to love it. Um, Wanted to switch gears a little bit. I was looking on YouTube and I saw your performance videos. And like you just said, when you're performing live, the crowd is really pumped. You're getting that crowd going. And I could really appreciate seeing it in your videos. And for me, I loved the whole cowboy thing you have going on with your bandmates, and you just, the cowboy hats, and it's a lot of fun to watch, and I'm sure being in the audience. Why don't you give a shout out to all of your members in the band that travel along with you and perform on stage?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have a ton of fun playing shows for everybody. So On lead guitar from Nacogdoches, Texas, we have Drew Middlebrook. On bass guitar from a small town south of Fort Worth, a few hours south actually, uh, is Colby Blahuta from Moulton, Texas. Then we have on pedal steel guitar Paul Stoskis, who is actually originally from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, but he lives in Grand Prairie, Texas now, which is kind of outside of Fort Worth just a little bit. And then we've got a drummer now. His name is Caden Brenneman, and he lives down in Austin. So we're kind of spread out all over the state. But fortunately, we managed to work it out every single weekend. And it's cool whenever you're playing with guys that you enjoy being around. It's kind of funny because like a show is only maybe 60 minutes, 90 minutes if you're headlining. But you have to spend the whole day with those guys. And in a lot of cases you spend, you know, 48, 72, 96 hours together. So having that camaraderie off the stage is, in my opinion, really more important than what it feels like to be on stage, because you got to be able to live with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And your tour schedule is insane. Um, Not only do you travel across the country, but you're performing internationally. And I believe you just came back from Europe. Tell us about your touring, and, it sounds very exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. This is what we kind of live for, is being on stage and getting to go out there and meet the fans, and hang out after the show at the merch table, and get to shake hands and hear people's stories no matter where they're coming from. And like you said, we do that across the country. Here in the US, we've gone out of state quite a bit this year, and next year is going to be even crazier. um, and then, as you mentioned, we did just get back from Europe. This was let's see, this is my fourth time playing in Europe. So far, I've been fortunate to play in France, Italy, Germany, Austria, and Spain. And going over there is so exciting. It's like a dream come true, being able to go and tour Europe and get to see some amazing stuff and meet some incredible people that just love country music, almost more so than we do here in Texas. I mean, it's pretty crazy how excited they get whenever they have someone coming over there and playing country music for them. But like you said, we're hustling and bustling all the time. Um, Sometimes it's nice to get a little downtime, but then I also think back to, you know, just a few years ago, it was taken all away from us in a very short amount of time. So having these opportunities is something that I just try to remind myself, be thankful, because it can be totally different.
Yeah. So I have two great snippets coming up. But before I play A Woman Does That to a Man, can you tell me a little bit about what inspired you to write this song?
Yeah, so A Woman Can Do That to a Man is a song that actually I did not have a part in writing. It was a song that was pitched to us from Sony, and once I heard the song, it was just a work tape. The writers on the song are Tony Lane, Matt Dame, and David Lee, and the work tape is uh, a work tape is just like guitar vocal. It's nothing special, no production, but the way that Tony Lane delivered the song in the work tape, I just absolutely fell in love with it. And then so I was at Sony and they were pitching me the songs, and then like an hour later, I was meeting with my producer, and he was like, "Man, there's a song that you should really hear. I think it's a great song." And he plays "A Woman Can Do That to a Man," and I didn't even tell him that I had just heard it, an hour or two earlier. And whenever he played me that song, I was like, "Dude, I just heard this, and now you're playing it for me. We have to record this. I love it." And so we did. And Brandon Hood, the producer, he just knocked it out of the park with the production and all the players that were on it. Um, in the studio, I mean, they really just honed in on what the song should sound like and what it should represent. Um, and so I love this song. It's one of my all-time favorites, and I think it's a beautiful love story. Um, I'm thankful that I got to record it.
Yeah, and your delivery and your vocals and the clarity, that heartfelt emotion is so complimentary to, like you said, the musicians and capturing that feel. And it's such a nice blend, and you do it so well. And I'm excited to have our listeners hear a woman can do that to a man. And we'll come back and talk more music.
She can take the restless from your cowboy boots and have you hang up that old highway and put down some roots. And her smile can make you want to change your plans. A woman can do that to a man. She can take the whiskey from the breath of you and hush your worried mind just lying next to you. She can take the fight from your fisted hands. A woman can do that to me. She can take the weight of the world away, the sun off of your sunburned face, be the saving grace you never knew, your angel eyes, your gospel truth, and she'll make you dance when you don't feel like it, kiss you under the midnight sky, and kindly introduce you to the moon. She can find
Wynn, oh, I love that song. It's just perfect. It really is. And I read that this song is an early introduction to your fourth recording project due early 2025. Tell us about what we have to look forward to next.
We've got a lot to look forward to. We just got out of the studio. We cut 8 new songs, and actually, if I'm thinking about this correct, all of them are actually outside songs that I did not write, which is exciting because the songwriters in Nashville, I mean, they're writing every single day, and so I go out to Nashville once a month for about a week at a time, writing, recording, having meetings, kind of handling business, and then also getting to do some of the creative work. And as a touring artist, sometimes it can be a real challenge to carve out the time to write, and I've found that to be the case as I've gotten a lot busier. Um, and sometimes it's hard too to like separate the business from the creative, in your mind. So sometimes you get into a little bit of a writing lull. But we actually decided, hey, we're going to go out. We're going to try to find the best songs that we can from all these writers in Nashville, and we put together a really, really good list of songs. And we went and recorded 8 new songs, and we're going to have a full-length album. I don't have any dates yet, but it's definitely something that everybody can look forward to.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll have to have you back on at a later date to talk about that album. I know that you've been doing this for quite some time, and I think you just keep getting better and better. And one of my favorite songs, and I'm going to play a snippet to close the show, is the song Like She Does. And not only do I like the song, but the way it came to life on video. So before I play that snippet and get into talking with you a little bit more about the video, can you share about the inspiration that you had for both when you were creating this?
Yeah, of course. So, firstly, thank you for your kind words on my writing. I would like to also attribute that to um, really writing with great writers. I mean, I believe me, if I was writing by myself, it would be it would be you know not quite as good. But I get to write with some great writers who have been doing it a lot longer than I have. Um, Jeff Hyde, Ryan Tyndall, Bryce Long, a bunch of these guys. Um, so like she does specifically was a song that I wrote with Bryce Long, and I love writing with Bryce. He's such a great melody guy, and he can come up with some really cool stuff. And we were actually writing Like She Does um, via Zoom call of all things, which is not the preferred method, but sometimes it can get the job done. And at the time, I was engaged and I wasn't married yet, but I have right here sitting in front of my desk is a picture of my wife and I. And I had the idea, you know, nobody loves me like she does. And you know, I pitched the idea to Bryce and we wrote that song. I don't think it took probably an hour um, to write that song because everything just came together so well. And sometimes it can go like that. Other times you can sit there for, you know, 3 or 4 hours and not get anything. But the song meant so much to me, and I think that's why it was a little bit easier to write. And you know, it's all from the heart. And then whenever we recorded the music video, um, my buddy here in Fort Worth, Texas, Claiborne Myers, we sat down, kind of storyboarded everything, and I was like, man, this is just such an easy shoot for the two of us. We can just do things that we already do around the house and out and about as well. So, uh, you know, putting out the Like She Does music video was really special because it um, kind of just showed how my wife and I's relationship is daily. And I also like to make a note too. So Claiborne Myers actually filmed all the music videos for the Your Love EP. So actually, if you get on YouTube and you look at the songs that are on that EP, you can watch them from start to finish in the order of the track listing. So like the Wind, I Left Her for Leaving, uh, All Over Me, Your Love, and Like She Does. If you watch them in that order from start to finish, you actually see a whole love story take place.
Well, I got chills watching the video for Like She Does and how you included snippets and bits and pieces from your actual wedding and and even how you're in the house sitting on the couch and singing with your guitar. And I mean, your wife is a lucky woman and you're a lucky man, and to have this song written in inspiration from her and your relationship, I mean, that's every woman's dream, to have a man feel the way you describe in your lyrics. And it's really a beautiful country love song. And I'm going to play that shortly. But I want to make sure our fans and listeners know how to find you on social media.
Yeah, of course. You can, so the one-stop shop for everything is winwilliamsmusic.com. But I'm on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. My Twitter is not very good. I kind of just get on there and read. I never post anything, but yeah, Instagram is kind of my main platform. But I can be found on all the others as well.
Great. And I encourage all the listeners to listen to the music by Wynn Williams, download his music and add it to your collection. And I also want to say, I love your merch. I like particularly the t-shirt that has like that rodeo um, logo on it. And, Christmas is coming up, and definitely check out the merch. And Wynn, I can't thank you enough for being on the show, and I look forward to having you back. And you're so talented. And we're going to go ahead and close the show with Like She Does by Wynn Williams. And thanks again, Wynn.
Hey, Lisa, thank you so much. Looking forward to doing it again.
Okay, and that's a wrap.
There's a ring on the finger of a woman I call mine. There ain't another out there like her, no, she's one of a kind. She's the answer to every prayer this cowboy ever prayed. There ain't a chance in hell I'll ever let her slip away. Ain't nobody I know nowhere loves me like she does. shelter on the days when the rain just won't let up. And the fire by my side every night till the morning comes. Ain't nobody I know nowhere loves me like she does. Well, I know sometimes I can get a little too far gone, but like a star in the sky, she always leads me home. When the weight of the world gets to be more than I can bear, without a shadow of a doubt, I know she'll be right there. Ain't nobody I know nowhere loves me like she does. She's my shelter on the days when the rain just won't let up. And the fire by my side every night till the morning comes. Ain't nobody I know nowhere loves me like she does. There ain't a chance in hell I'll ever let her slip away. No way. Ain't nobody I know nowhere loves me like she does. She's my shelter on the days when the rain just won't let up. And the fire by my side every night till the morning comes. Ain't nobody I know nowhere loves me. I know nobody nowhere loves me like she does. Like she does.